Hey guys, it's me. I'm here. I'm here. And there's no baby here. My hair is short. It's a different color since the last time you saw me. And this is like the third haircut I've gotten. I mean, a lot has happened. I have been really out of the game, but I've been thinking about filming videos and doing videos for so long. And I've been getting such nice comments from people on the videos I've done. And so I'm so glad to be back. I'm back, baby. So if you want to know how I feel about pregnancy, childbirth, and pushing a baby out of your vagine unmedicated, then just keep on watching. So I'm just going to put this out there before I start. I'm not even going to call it a disclaimer. I'm going to call it a claimer. There's a reason why I called this unmedicated birth and not natural birth. All birth is natural birth. It doesn't matter if you took drugs, had an epidural, didn't, had a C-section, emergency, elective, whatever you went through to bring a baby out of your body and into the world, that shit was natural. You're a boss, and I'm just calling this unmedicated because I happen to not take medication, but I'm no more of a badass than anybody else. And whatever you choose to do is what's best for you. And yeah, we're not going to play that shit on my channel. I decided to give birth unmedicated in a birth center. I have so many women in my life who came to motherhood in 1,000 different ways, and every single one of those ways is as valid as the one before it or after it. But if you're just curious and you want to hear like why I chose a birth center and what that experience was like and why I chose unmedicated, I'm happy to make a whole video about that. Just leave a comment down below. Okay, so here is the thing. Like, the thing about giving birth, or the thing about getting pregnant, is that like the minute you get pregnant, especially the first time, you're like, so this is gonna happen. There's no getting out of this birth thing. Now this baby is here, and it's gonna have to come out, which is like kind of like, you know, horrifying. And even though by the end you're so ready to give birth because you're so uncomfortable and you're so giant and you can't sleep and your feet hurt and whatever, you're like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, it's about to happen. Not ready, not ready, not ready. The other thing about being pregnant that is like such a trip is that you're basically wearing a massive sign that says, I've been fucking. It's so crazy. Like, my entire life in early adulthood, I was like hiding the fact that I was sexually active from my like parents. You know, like they're very traditional in many senses, Middle Eastern family, like no boyfriends. And I would go over to my white friends' houses and their dads in like 5th or 6th grade be like, and moms would be like, so do you have a boyfriend? Like, do you like anybody? And I'd be like, no. I can't believe we're like openly talking about this. We never admitted to our parents like about boys or anything like that. Never like brought boyfriends home in high school. College, my parents chilled out a little bit, but still like we never showed physical affection in front of our families. So then to all of a sudden then get married and then have my dad be like, so baby, when is the baby going to come? My mom being like, so like TikTok. You're like, you're basically being like, go fuck. Or like, do you remember in high school you would have like your kind of bookish teacher, homely looking lady with her glasses, and like she like shows up in the middle of the year pregnant and you're like, Miss Johnson, be fucking. Yo, is Miss Johnson a freak? Then like you start to get all these images and you're like, stop, I can't, it's too much. Just me. With my neighbors and stuff, I'm like, y'all are fucking. Everybody on the street is fucking. You guys like are like, hey Saya, how are you? I'm like, oh, I'm good, how are you? Like, see you later. And then they go inside and I'm like, they're fucking in there. Everybody on my block, one point or another, they're fucking. So getting pregnant is just a giant banner. You might as well have like airplane ride in the sky. I've been fucking. Kind of weird for me. Not gonna lie. Also, there are people out there who love pregnancy, like it's their jam. They're like, I never felt so in tune with my body. I could feel the baby growing inside of me. There was an instant connection. Every little bubble and butterfly. And they're wearing tunics and their face is glowing and their hair is long and luscious. And it's like they have a Beyonce fan everywhere they're walking, and they're wearing like gladiator sandals, and they are feeling it. Not your girl. And if you are out there and you didn't walk around in your Grecian, goddess dress feeling like at one with Mother Earth, don't feel bad about yourself, because that shit is hard. So what does childbirth feel like, right? Like, so while I was pregnant, I was like, just with my first, I was just asking all of the women who had had babies, like, what does it feel like? Like, what is the pain like? You've seen so many movies and people are screaming and they're cursing out their partners, and, like their feet are up by their heads and they're pushing and they're sweaty, and like, like freaking Kourtney Kardashian pushed her own baby, like pulled her own baby out of her vagina. What does it feel like? And, every book you read, or that I read, was like, it's not the pain of injury. And I have to say that is exactly right. When you stub your toe, or you cut your finger, or you have some other more painful injury, it's not that kind of sharp pain. It's this squeezing. So it's why it's called a contraction. So you just are being squeezed from the inside, is the best way I can put it. And it comes in waves. So it's like, and you have a break, in between contractions to sort of catch your breath. So it's like a wave, and you're starting to feel like, if ever, when you have like your period cramps, you have those like contracting, your uterus is contracting to shed its lining. It's that squeeze, but then the squeeze gets tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter, to where you're like, you can't talk. And then it gets to its peak and you're like, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. And then it releases and it tapers off in another wave. I watched a documentary called The Business of Being Born, which is a controversial one. Watch it if you want to, don't if you don't want to. And all these women were talking about their birth stories, and Giselle Bundchen talks about her birth story, and she's like, I just felt like I was riding a wave. I felt like I was surfing, and she's like got her long, her beach tresses, and she's like, I just felt one with my body, and I just rode the wave, and it was beautiful. And I'm like, fucking, of course it was. Of course it was. Then there was Alanis Morissette, who was like, it was fucking terrible. She had an unmedicated home birth, and she was like, it was terrible. It was hours and hours and hours. And I was like, she was at her brink. And finally, when she was dilated all the way, and finally when it was time to push, she says she's got her back to this window, and it's starting to, dawn is starting to break. And her best friend who's there, who I believe was a midwife or a doula, also, was like, Alanis, it's so beautiful. Look outside. It's dawn. Like, take this in. And Alanis was like, fuck you. I don't want to look outside. And I knew in that moment, I was like, oh, I'm going to have an Alanis Morissette experience. And look, there are women who do hypnobirthing that swear they have no pain. There are women out there who have orgasms when they give birth. But good on you. Good on you. I hope that you have your gladiator sandals packed away somewhere for your next time. I did read the hypnobirthing book. My girlfriend lent it to me, and she was like, look, she gave it to me and gave me the real talk. She was like, look, read this. It's helpful, but it gonna hurt. Don't get it twisted. It gonna hurt. So there are 3 stages of labor. There's early labor. It's where your cervix dilates to 3 centimeters. And this is your cervix not only gets open, it gets softer, and it gets effaced, which is it gets thinner. You can talk, you can eat. If you're at a birth center, you can talk, you can eat, you can suck on popsicles, you can have a conversation, and then the contraction comes on. You need to hold on to something, you need to take a second, it leaves, and then you're sort of back to yourself. Once you get through toward the later stages of active labor, and then definitely or during transition, there ain't none of that. Active labor is from 3 centimeters to 7 centimeters or 8 centimeters, 7 I think, and that's when you're really feeling contractions, and it's super super intense. You feel the squeezing. The squeezing gets the cramping and the squeezing from the vice grip on your uterus from the inside. The squeezing gets more intense. It gets longer. The contractions get longer. There's less of a break between them. And then from 7 to 10 is what they call transition, which is like when those contractions are right on top of each other. You don't really have a break. Then you get to the pushing phase. And if you were to believe television and movies, when it's time to push, you do 3, 4, 5 pushes and your baby is out. That's just not the case. Some people are lucky and get a baby out in, 2 pushes. But most people, sometimes it can take hours, 2 or 3 hours to push a baby out. And you have to push and you have to bear down like you'd be having a bowel movement. You have to kind of bear down and open up and push out. You wait for a contraction and you feel it coming, and then you push during the contraction. And then once the contraction's over, you stop pushing. And sometimes, a lot of times the progress you make, you push, and then you release, the baby gets like sucked back in. So is a lot of like, we're seeing his head, keep pushing, like keep pushing, we can see him like in there, and then you like release and then it gets sucked back up. And that dance can take a million years. I can say for me, the actual pushing, like it's not like I could feel the baby. I could feel a heaviness in my pelvis, but you're not like feeling the baby, at least for me, like in the birth canal. I don't know. I was also like out of my mind. So, but I don't think like I felt that. When the baby starts to crown, it's called the ring of fire, and it's your labia and your perineum and sort of all of the skin around the opening to your vagina that stretches. And so it's like, you ever do those like horrible things in school where you would like twist somebody's skin and it would burn. That is like the feeling. It's like a stretching, so it burns. So it's called the ring of fire. I just remember the midwife patting me on the shoulder and just saying, now you're going to feel the ring of fire. Why the fuck did you tell me that? What the fuck is happening? With Rafa, my first child, it was 45 minutes of pushing. And with Remy, my second, it was like, I think almost 2 hours of pushing. Time ceases to exist. Like I'm not looking at a clock. I have no idea. Is it 1 minute? Is it 5 hours? Like you just don't even know. You're just so tired. And then it happens. And then it's the cry. And, I do remember my mom saying to me, she had an unmedicated birth with me and she had an epidural with my sister. She was like, epidural all the way. Like, fucking no question. And then you deliver the placenta a few, minutes or half hour or whatever afterwards. And that just feels funky. It just, it's kind of, you can feel cramping and it kind of slides out, but it's nothing like what, regular childbirth was. But it's crazy. Like my midwives put it in this big silver bowl and they were like, do you want to see your placenta? And I was like, sure. Then of course I did the hippy dippy thing and I made it into pills for like $250 and I never took them. So I have to say, overall, choosing the path that I chose, I did feel very empowered. I felt like, and I think most women feel this way after they give birth, it's like, I did that. I can do anything. I did it. It's scary. The unknown is terrifying, but you can do it. I don't want to be so cheesy to say, but like women have been doing it since time immemorial. Like women have been doing it without medication forever, and women now with the advent of medication have been doing it forever. And if they can do it, and if your mom can do it, and your grandmother can do it, and Miss Johnson from third period English can do it, you can do it. It's gonna suck, but you're going to get through it. If I can do it, my pain threshold is not high. Like I'm so tender-headed. I can't have anybody even brush my hair. I have wanted to go to the hospital over some gas pains. So if I can do it, you can do it. You have got this. If you have any questions for me about my births, about the choices I made, why I made them, leave all your comments down below, your questions down below, and I'm happy to respond. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. I'll be uploading much more frequently. You can also follow me on Instagram. I'll leave the handle down here. It's just at ChooseGooder on Instagram and on Twitter. If you want to see me, I'm not like super active on either of those things. But you know, I post the occasional funny story, and you just kind of keep up with what's happening in my life outside of videos. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.